Next is a hamstring stretch. You also get the calf slightly, lower back, neck, but I call it vitamin H for hamstring. Hamstring is the most stubborn muscle in our body. It goes from the back of the knee into your sitting bones, so it affects the knees. If the hamstrings are short, the calves are short, it affects the knees. So you have to keep stretching it and opening it to help the health of the knee. What you do is, you can start with legs apart, and you take a table or a high stool at first to see how flexible your hamstrings are, to identify where you're at. So legs apart makes it a little easier. Then you bend down and you lean on an object, like that, and your legs are active. So you're lifting the kneecap using your quads. So you see my knees are relaxed. I tense my quads and the kneecap goes up. The next thing you do is you tilt the pelvis up. So this will be an upward pelvis tilt. You see, whoop, I lift the sitting bones up into the hair. If you go too low and if you're hanging like this, like people do it, you can't really tilt the pelvis because you lock it. So that's why you need to create some slack. And that slack is created by leaning on an object. You lean like this, now the pelvis is free. So I can tilt the pelvis up, raise the kneecap up. I myself also like to put the weight on the ball of the foot and push the heels into the ground. So the legs are really working. You're lifting the kneecap, you're pushing the heels into the ground, and you're tilting the pelvis upward. After a while, when you hold this, you realize, oh, I can move my legs together. I can actually, which will make it a little harder. So you put the legs together, and then you go down like that, and you stay there. Again, you start with a minute and build up to 2 minutes, but the final goal, when I do this stretch, I do between 3 to 5 minutes. Once you don't feel the stretch anymore with the stool or the table, then you start moving lower. If you want to move lower, you can first move to a chair with some blocks. Once you don't feel, and again, when you have the legs apart, you can start, it's easier. Maybe a minute into the stretch, you feel, oh, I can bring my legs together. And after a while, maybe a few weeks later, or if you're flexible, you realize, oh, I don't need the blocks anymore. I can go to a chair now. Maybe a month or a few weeks later, you say, oh, the chair is easy to me, I want to go lower. So you can see a chair is about 2 yoga blocks. So you put the 2 yoga blocks against the wall, and now you want to go lower than the chair, so you flip the block, and now you have a block and a half. And then you go down to a block and a half. And then over time, you go to a block and a quarter. And eventually, you go to 1 block. When you go to 1 block and you move your toes all the way towards the block, it's a very nice sensation. The whole half of the spine is on the wall, and I call it fold in half. So half of the spine is nicely on the wall. You get a really nice stretch also in the neck because the neck is hanging down. Your hamstring, your calf is getting it. So it's a really more than just hamstring and calf stretch. That's when it starts to become lower back and neck stretch as well. The hamstring are very important. They're very stubborn. So you have to keep stretching them. Maybe do it 3 to 5 times a day, 3 to 5 minutes. I always say if you can do 60% of what I tell you, you're still going to be successful. So good luck with vitamin H. Now, don't forget that you also want to integrate the other internal skills of the philosophies of Qigong and Tai Chi to make it more than just a stretch, a physical stretch. So you want to move, first of all, breathe in and out through the nose deep. So you bring a lot of oxygen into your system. We're shallow breathers, so taking those deep breaths while you're doing the stretch will bring more oxygen into your body. Oxygen flows through the whole body and nourishes every cell. Very important. The second thing, move the abdomen, the back muscles in on the inhalation, out on the exhalation. That's the Taoist breath. In on the inhalation, out on the exhalation. Empty your mind from any thoughts. Evoke the spirit by thinking of nature, the sun, the moon, the mountains, the ocean. So by thinking of the nature, you evoke the spirit. And the last but not least, if you want to integrate it, you can visualize a healing energy ball 2 inches below the navel, and that's the lower energy visualization. That's the first energy visualization when you study the philosophies of Qigong and Tai Chi. So now you have all 5 building blocks in this vitamin H stretch. You have the body, you have the breath, you have the mind focusing on the lower energy center, so that's mind and energy. And you think of something spiritual, the ocean, the mountains. And that's how you evoke the spirit. Good luck with your vitamin H.